Hi guys, today we're going to learn about conjugate pairs theorem. So this is going to be involving polynomials, graphing polynomials. So in this section I will find a polynomial equation when given imaginary roots with the help of the conjugate pair theorem. So okay, so this is polynomials. This is under college algebra. Okay, so usually when you're graphing a polynomial, you're used to having roots that are like 2, 5, 7, 8, etc., right? But what you're not used to is when you're given so let's read the problem. So the problem says, hold on, just let me move this. Okay. It says find a polynomial equation. Find the polynomial equation with real coefficients that has 2 and 1 minus I as roots. So this 1 minus I is what might throw you off because you're not really used to imaginary roots. So what we're going to do is we're going to use the conjugate pair theorem. So in reality, you actually have 3 roots. You have 2, the 1 minus I, and then according to the conjugate pair theorems, you're going to have another root. But what is the conjugate of 1 minus I? 1 plus I, right? So in total, you have 3 roots. Right? These are all your 3 roots, total of 3 roots. Now you're probably thinking, well, how do I create a polynomial equation? Well, it's really simple. I'll go over the steps. So, okay, so let's start with the positive 2. This positive 2 is really how did we get positive 2? So it's really saying x minus 2 is a root, because if you set that to 0, you can get 2 plus 2, x equals 2. So that's why x minus 2 is really the root of 2. So we're going to rewrite that as x minus 2. Now I'm going to focus on the I minus I and the I plus I. So I'm going to use bracket. Okay, so this is how you set it up. Don't ask me how I got it like this. This is just how you set it up. So it's going to be x minus this conjugate, 1 minus I. So I'm going to put minus, and then I'm going to put parentheses. 1 minus I, parentheses, bracket, and then another bracket, x minus, and then then we have to take the conjugate of 1 minus I, which is 1 plus I, so it's going to be parentheses 1 plus I, parentheses, bracket, equals 0. Okay, so you're probably thinking, how there's no formula, this is just how you set it up. Don't ask me how I got this equation. So this is just how you set it up. So just remember this is going to be the 1 minus I, this is going to be this one, and then this one's going to be 1 plus I. So there's always put a minus here, and then x here, and x here. So it's going to be x minus the positive conjugate, 1 minus I, and then it's going to be x minus the 1 plus I. Okay, now let's simplify this. So let's look at this really close. Let's not focus on the x minus 2 right away, because that's simple. Try to see if you can. Okay, let's FOIL this negative out. Okay, let's FOIL this out. So it's going to be bracket x minus 1, right? FOIL this out. So it's minus 1. And this is going to be positive I, bracket, and then FOIL this negative. negative 1 minus I, bracket. Good. Equals 0. And then don't forget this x minus 2. Let's see here. Let's simplify this. These two things. Now, before you combine like terms, look at it really closely. We have an x minus I. We have an x minus I here, and then we have a positive I, and then we have a minus I. That looks like something familiar. That looks like the perfect square, remember? If you recall, perfect square has an equation as a plus b times a minus b equals a squared minus b squared. So, in reality, if you using the perfect square theorem, perfect square trinomial, this is going to be simplified as my a is x minus 1, right? And my b is just I. So let's use, since this looks like this, we got to make it look like the right. So it's going to be a squared minus b squared. So if we recall, so it's going to be bracket. If we recall that a is x minus I, so it's going to be x minus, not I, sorry, x minus 1. X minus 1 square minus b square. So what is my b? I. So it's going to be minus I square. Bracket equals 0. And then this is going to be x minus, don't forget the x minus 2. We're almost there. We're almost done. Okay, so let's simplify this even more. This x minus 1, this you can actually FOIL it out if you want to do the long way, or if you want to do the shortcut, you just remember it's the perfect square trinomial. And if you ever get get confused of what rules are we using, there's a section called on college algebra, the newer version. It's under polynomial rules, and then it goes all the rules. So if you ever need a review, check it out. So this is good. So the perfect square trinomial is a minus b square equals a square minus 2ab plus b square, right? So this, in reality, if you simplify this, is going to be x squared minus 2x, right? Minus 2ab plus b squared, which is plus 1. Wait, so if you remember, a is x, and my b is 1. So that's how I just put it into this equation, a squared minus 2ab plus b squared. Okay, so now we have a minus I squared. If you recall, I squared is technically negative 1, but there's an extra minus, so it's going to be a minus 1. So that's technically 2 negatives becomes a positive. This becomes a 0, and then don't forget the x minus 2. Never forget about that. So let's clean this up. So this is going to be x squared minus 2x, and then 1 plus 1 is positive 2. Okay, almost there. And then don't forget the x minus 2. That's the last step. Now we can FOIL it out. So let's FOIL, if you FOIL everything out, there's no special rules for this one. You just have to do the long way and FOIL it out. So this is going to be x cubed minus 2x squared, right? X cubed minus 2x squared plus x times 2 is plus positive 2x. And then FOIL this out. Negative 2 times x squared is negative 2x squared. this is going to be positive 4x, and then this is going to be negative 4 equals 0. Now, the last step is collect like terms. So the highest degree is x cubed. Then our next highest is degree square, but there's two of them. We have one here and one here, so that's negative 4x squared. And then 4x plus 2x is 6x minus 4. Okay, so now you can actually graph it. So that's, you can graph this. You know how to graph this polynomial. You can put it in the graphing calculator, right? I think, yeah. And then that's how you get the this equation of the polynomial when given conjugate root theorem. So let me just review something really quick. So if you have like a 1 minus I, your conjugate of that would be 1 plus I. So you have a total of 3 roots. And then you just have to make sure you set it up like this. Don't ask me how I got this equation. This is just how you have to set it up. It's going to be x minus the positive conjugate, this one, 1 minus I. And then it's going to be x minus the conjugate, which is 1 plus I. And then don't forget the x minus 2. Use your special rules. You know, this simplifies as the perfect square. So that's how I got x minus 1 squared minus I squared. And then FOIL things out. If you remember, this is the perfect square trinomial, so this is how I got x squared minus 2x plus 1. And then I squared is negative 1, but there's also a negative, so it's going to be 2 negatives becomes a positive, so it's plus 1. So this is going to be x squared minus 2x plus 2. And then the last step, FOIL this out, and then combine like terms, and then that's how you get x squared. X cubed minus 4x squared plus 6x minus 4. And yeah, that's it for this section. If you like my video, please like and subscribe. Thanks.